Hi, I'm Jim McCann, founder of 1-800-Flowers. We created this podcast to share the wonderful people we get to interact with, we get to meet, we get to know, and most importantly, get to learn from. So I invite you to join us on this journey here on the Celebrations Chatter podcast. I'm dying to hear the story. I know you've told it a lot of times before, but there's a lot of people who haven't heard it yet. So talk we must.
Yes.
So Rosemary, Collette, tell us the story of how Collette gets to be the star of Collette's Cookies. And I assume it started when you were a young child in school. And this story begins, Rosemary, in Boston area?
No, in Connecticut.
Connecticut, Ridgefield.
Yes.
Yeah, Connecticut. And what happened, Jim, was when Collette got to her, first of all, I don't bake. I'm a horrible baker.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think she started baking with her mom when she was little. Well, that's definitely not the case here.
None.
In fact, she's fired me 6 times in the kitchen. So she's not allowed to do any baking for her at all. But what happened was when she went to high school, her first year, this big thing on inclusion is to include her in the classroom. And weeks went by, and every time she came home, she was more and more depressed. And she was very sad that she was sitting in a classroom and she felt like the teacher was speaking another language and she didn't understand anything that was being taught. And she was in the back of the class in a corner with an aide doing a worksheet that was like copied from some workbook. So Collette kept coming home saying, I'm different, I'm dumb, I'm not like them. And so I had an immediate meeting with the school. And I said, listen, this is not working. You got to pull her out of these classes. And they were like, but don't you want inclusion? And I was like, this type of inclusion is not working for Collette. So I said,
sounds like really good intentions on this inclusion idea, but then you have to view each case in its practical realities. And it was not making you, Collette, feel included. You were feeling isolated in a crowd.
Yeah, and she was feeling like she was being more noticed for being different than ever before. So when I sat down with the school, I just said, listen, let's really look at what she needs to learn to become independent. And I took apart every curriculum for the next 4 years. And I pulled out the subjects that I said, if I still remember it, then she needs to learn it, And the school looked at me and said, we don't have a class for this. And I said, okay, well, do it one-on-one. Well, I tried to reach out to the other parents that also had kids that were going through something similar, but they did not want to take their kids out of the classes. And that was fine.
You have to have an overall plan, but then you have to be able to adjust and compromise and customize based on the individual.
Absolutely. Sounds like you know a lot about this.
No, I feel the pain of both you wanting to do the right thing for Collette and the system trying to do the right thing for everybody. And then you get the people at the extremes who aren't open to compromise because of a lack of sensibility in terms of having gone through and experienced what these mandates can do.
Absolutely. And so, so I wrote this curriculum and I said, this is what she needs to learn. Let's do it one-on-one. And they thought I was crazy because she's going to be in a classroom alone. And I said, but let's think out of the box for her. Let's create her inclusion. Let's put her in electives. And they said, you can't do electives till you're a junior. And I said, put her in them. Why not? And they said, well, then she's not on the track for a high school diploma. And I thought about that for a second. And then I said, who's going to ever ask her if she has a high school diploma?
Yep.
They looked at me like, what? And I go, look, I want her to walk and I want her to get a certificate, but nobody's going to ask her for a high school diploma. So we created that. So Colette's going to take it from here.
The deciding factor wouldn't be the difference between a 3.4 and a 3.8 GPA?
Yeah, right. So what happened was they said, okay, well, let's look at electives. And we were just trying to line up Collette's schedule and electives, and baking was one of them. And so I said, oh, great, put her in baking. She'll learn measuring, she'll learn math, she'll learn temperature, she'll learn how to use knives, or, she'll learn kitchen. That's fantastic. And she'll be getting math skills along with it. so they put her in the class, and about a month. Now you also have to know Collette. She's very sassy. Any aid that they've
Hold it. Colette, you're sassy?
Yeah, I learned that from my mom.
Oh, she threw
Right back
yeah.
at you, Mom.
So what happened was the teacher called me, and when I said she was very sassy, whatever aid they got Collette ran circles around the aide and would sometimes like hide on the aide and drive the aides crazy, right? Because she hated having an aide. So the teacher called me up, and I thought, oh no, what did Collette do now? And I went in, and the teacher said, she is my best student. And I thought, but. And like something else is coming. And she said, she helps the other students. Like, she's really good at baking. And that's when Collette went from being a very sad, right? Collette, very depressed about high school young lady, soaring because she found something she was really good at, and she was helping other people with it.
Which
So
screams for experimentation, sampling, having an open mind, and thank goodness that the school system you're in, and so many do, have such a good variety of elective kinds of classes like that you can have a chance of finding something that captures your interest and maybe becomes your passion.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, the teachers even thanked me that the core curriculum classes Collette was in, I became friendly with all the teachers, and they were like, I'm so glad you pulled her out. I felt so bad. I knew we weren't reaching her. I could see her frustration in the class. And I told them what I was doing. And they were like, honestly, that's amazing. Like, that's probably what I would want to do with my own child if Collette was my own child. So
and what's your background, Rosemary?
My background's real estate development. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My brothers and sisters are all entrepreneurs with more than one business. And I had a real estate development company. I designed and built residential homes and sold them myself.
In Connecticut there?
Connecticut and New York. I also opened up a large health and wellness center in New York, and ran that and sold that. And then it was a construction project I had that went south. The owner couldn't get financing, and I decided that since I taught myself so much over the past year building this whole project for him on paper, I'd open up myself. So and then
you took on the financial burden and finished it out?
Finished it out, and I ran it for three or 4 years and then sold it. But my kids all grew up they grew up going to work with me, and Collette used to come to work, and she used to put all the little tickets in order. And so they grew up with that kind of in their blood. And so when I'm just going to say, when nobody would hire Collette, I was like, you're a great baker, open up your own business. And most parents that ask me, they're like, so how did you open up your own business for Collette? And I was like, easy, nobody else would hire me.
So let's go back there, Collette, if we could. You find that you really enjoy the baking class. You find you're good at it. Teachers reporting to your mom, Rosemary, that you're not only a good student, but you're helping the other kids in the class. Did you ever think that when you were growing up that baking would become your thing?
Yes, 100%. I always loved baking since I was younger. And then also I learned baking from high school. I had no friends. I was picked on. I was pretty a lot, and that's why I don't want to feel down on myself a lot. And that's why I decided to start a baking. I start baking every weekend at home as my fun hobby. I have been making all the way fun things. I've been making cakes and pie stuff. That is when I've been so happy with baking, and that's why I always loved it very much.
Now, Collette, I hear that if you're a baker,
Yes.
you're either a cake person or a pie person. Can you be both?
I do, yes. But now for the cookies, it had to be in business, and that is two different ways.
Collette, can you remember the first time you baked cookies and you served them to somebody else and you got a good reaction?
I don't know how to answer that.
Was there like a aha moment where you say, wow, I'm good at baking cookies and people seem to like them?
But remember when you were experimenting when we went to Vermont and you didn't want to
Oh,
ski in?
yes. Like, since I was down at Vermont, all of my friends and family, they went skiing. I just want to stay at the house. And
You're
that's
saying
why
it's cold out there, you can fall. I'm
Yes,
inside, it's nice
exactly.
and
Yep.
warm, it smells good. I'm staying in here.
Which I did with my mom. Me and my mom, we were trying to do is to figure out which cookie is the best. I have to make them. And then since everyone who actually came back to the house, they all love them very much. They really wanted me is to name that cookie is actually an amazing cookie. That's why I like to bring them to this local market here in Boston. We're nearby my home in the North End. During that time, everybody loves them. They wanted 100 packages at the end of the week.
100 packages by the end of the week.
Yes.
Now, people are trying your cookies and they're all using the same word. They're all
yes.
saying, these are amazing.
That's
So
it.
you decided to use that as your sub brand.
That
Which
one.
variety of cookie did you call amazing?
Cinnamon chocolate chip. And that
Cinnamon
one,
chocolate chip.
yes. That is actually top one selling cookie.
Top selling. Wow.
Yes.
And tell me about that first order. Someone wanted 100 cookies within
at
a
the
week.
end of the week.
Well, no, it was 100 packages.
No, so
100 packages.
100
Wow.
packages at
Now,
the
were
end
you
of the
were you
week.
set up to do 100 packages already?
No.
No.
No, what happened was she got into a program, a college program at Clemson University in high school. And she went to it and she graduated early.
Oh yeah.
Moved to Boston.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Collette, she moved to Boston thinking that she would find a job somewhere in the financial district and she could find.
After graduation, you moved to Clemson.
So I actually graduated early as their 3-year program in just 2 years. I moved up to Boston since 7.5 years
ago.
Is this, Collettey, is this the #1 seller?
That's it. Yes.
This is the #1 seller. Well,
Yes, it is.
we had to have this package under lock and key in our office here over the last weekend because we made the mistake of leaving them out for people to try. And we almost didn't have this last bag left
Oh my God.
because people said, I know you're going to find this surprising, but some people said they were amazing.
Oh, amazing. Yes.
Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Find the perfect gift.
And wow the people you love.
Wow. This is amazing. Whether you want to say happy birthday. So cute.
Or I love you.
I love you too. Thinking of you.
Wow.
Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Celebrate the people you love.
You went
That's
from
great.
graduating early
Yeah.
from your program at Clemson
Yes, I did.
to moving to Boston to start a business.
Yes.
No,
And now,
No, I did not. No. After 2 years, I was on a job. Like, since I was trying to find jobs, no one would hire me. That's because that
so
I
no one would
hated
hire
it.
you. You went on interviews and no one would hire you.
No.
for 2 years. She went on
Yes.
into
2 years.
2, yes. And that's why I like to start my own business. So, but
That experience of feeling all those rejections over that 2-year period, you said, wait a minute, I know how to do things here and I'm going to start my own business if no one will hire me.
exactly, yes.
And how long ago was that you decided to start your own business? That's a
Two-
big step.
It was, yes. I got very scared at the very beginning how to start my own business. And that's why I learned that from my mom. And that's why that she told me a million things how to start my own company. So I started it in 2016.
You caught a little buzz in the
Oh.
media. When was the first time you did a TV appearance?
So I actually do have my own TV show
Wait,
on.
Ask
sorry.
him the first time you've done a TV.
Oh.
Was that when CBS in Boston came to you and said, we heard about your cookies, we'd like to do a story about you?
It went right to CBS Evening News.
Yes.
Wow. Colette,
Yeah.
what was that like? You went from being a hardworking person that not that many people knew, and all of a sudden you became a bit of a media personality.
Being on all of those cameras, being on the news, being on TV everywhere. I love it, but I know that it's a lot of work.
And as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you immediately learned, I would guess, the value of that publicity that you were getting by doing those TV programs, because I'm sure it was very good for business.
Yes.
Tell me a
Yes.
time when it was too good.
Yeah, see, I love it. I really do a lot, but because it's a lot of work, but because I don't mind of that at all, is to keep myself really busy. But honestly, busy is because being busy is a great feeling. It really is.
Now, fast forward to today, how many people work at Collette's Cookies?
15.
15 people.
Yes.
Wow. That's a lot of people,
It-
a lot of responsibility. Do you ever feel like you can have a day off?
No, I have
What?
no time. We
You just
actually.
told me yesterday.
Okay, we actually, I actually do have a time off. I'm just on the weekends. So, doing all these weekdays, it was been busy. Yes, this whole week I was at this
At the food show.
thank you, at the food show.
Was it a good
Yeah.
show?
Yes, here in Boston.
Did you do a lot of sales?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea.
She
Wow.
had contacts with some big distributors.
Yes, it did.
That's terrific. Rosemary, let me ask you, how do you feel about your little girl being an
Huh?
entrepreneur? You tell us that it's genetic, that your brothers and sisters are all entrepreneurs as you are. Well, I'll go back to Clemson. How'd you feel about your little girl packing up and going away?
Oh, that was really hard. And I had to run that past my family because it was so far away. And I didn't really know anybody that had a child with any type of special need. That child went that far away to be in that kind of environment. So, I kind of reverted back to my family to say, what do you think? And half of them said yes, and half of them said no. So it didn't really help me.
But
we
just talking about it and wrestling with those emotions yourself, having a family to talk to about it's got to be very beneficial.
Yeah, I have a very close Italian family, and like my older brother's, like, we call him the Don, because he calls meetings and things like that with the family, you know. So we're very different, but we're very involved in listening to one another and bouncing things off of one another. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't, you know.
How lucky you all are to have that.
Very.
Collettey, what's the biggest challenge in business for you today?
I had to say is looking for the new person who really wants to get a job so badly, who really wants to work for me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think
Lucky.
that's everybody's toughest challenge
Yes,
is
it
the
is.
Yeah.
right people. And I know, Collette, you run a for-profit company at Collette's Cookies, but I understand in addition, you have a not-for-profit that some of your proceeds from Collette's Cookies goes to. What does your not-for-profit do with that money?
As my non-profit, I have been teaching different classes. I have been teaching all about how to start your own company, independence, entrepreneurship, and then also
Branding.
planning. That is I think for my mom. One of those classes I have been doing, it's called Your Next Door Academy.
So Jim, what we do is we teach all kinds of workshops, 1 hour workshops, 4-day workshops, 6-month mentorships to other kids with disabilities.
Those mentorships that they come and work in Collette's Cookies?
Well, right now we have 5 people we're working with, but they have their own company and they don't know how to tell their story and scale their and really sell their brand. So we started with them last September and we've worked with them in kind of creating their story and creating their taglines and consistency of the brand. And now we're all at social media and what does LinkedIn do and what should be on LinkedIn and what does this Instagram do? So that's what the money goes towards. It's towards not charging them because if they're young adults and they're living off of a disability check, they can't even get by with food and rent. So,
and that's the complication of having those disability checks is the threshold on income you can earn before you lose that is something you have to learn to negotiate, huh?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually love doing that. It's one of our favorite things. And we have another class that we teach that we're going to be teaching. It's a 3-day class in April. We have 12 students already signed up. And it's like self-discovery into career pathways.
Yes.
So that's an 8-hour class.
It is.
Wow. You're a couple of busy ladies and doing fun work and doing the good work. So a great applause to you both. Rosemary, how's the real estate market?
Well, I haven't been in it since Collette took me over. And I keep saying I'm gonna retire, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna retire. No, you're not. Yeah, so I'm not really that involved in it, but of course I grew up in it, so I watch it all the time. So
yeah.
I told Collette, like maybe in a year or two, if she keeps scaling up her company, she can buy herself her own place, which would be pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that would be really amazing.
But not in Boston, but yes.
I don't know why you say that. Boston's been good to you.
It is, yes, but not the rest of my life. If I were to get a husband someday, I need to figure that out.
You're a tough act, though. You know, you set the bar pretty high. You're a successful entrepreneur. You're a successful philanthropist. I mean, you're a tough act.
She even has a book out, and she has a second one coming out.
And
come on, you're overachieving on too many fronts.
I know. So actually, I second book. That one it's called Collette in the Grid. As my first book, that one has been out. It's on Amazon. It's on that one. It's called Collette in Kindergarten.
And tell me, what's your goal for this year at Collette's Cookies? Do you have a stretch goal in mind that you'd like to achieve?
I do, yes.
1-800-Flowers.
Yes, that, of course.
You're going to buy 1-800-Flowers? Bring the check.
Okay, perfect. I will.
You can't pay in cookies, you know.
I know that. As my next goals, it has to be, I would say, creating more jobs for people with creating more jobs for people with disabilities. I'm doing more of my non-profit, and then also doing more of my speaking events. So
yeah, that would be a good goal. Now you mentioned that you have 15 employees, Collette.
Yes.
Some of those employees, I understand, are people with disabilities or different abilities, right?
We actually not all of
some.
Some of them, yes. Another half of those people who do not have
Yep.
a disabilities. So
So your goals this year are to grow the business,
yes,
do more speaking engagements,
yep.
generate more profits so that you can give more money to your not-for-profit,
I
so you
do.
can help more and more people to start their own businesses or to find satisfying and productive work experiences. That's a pretty full plate of goals for the next year or so. And I sure hope that you get to put a check in the box next to each and every one of those this year. Your
Yeah.
cookies are amazing
Thank
and
you.
delicious, and we've
This is
enjoyed them
favorite
around the
day.
office here. And I've enjoyed getting to know you in our conversation today, Collette, and you, Rosemary, and we look forward to selling your cookies. You mind if
Yeah.
we sell a few of those for you?
We will-
Yeah.
We'll be happy to do that. We're going to do that not only at 1-800-Flowers, but at Smile Farms, where we have a marketplace for products that this would be a perfect fit into.
Great.
We also do some farmers markets in the nice weather, and I think Collette's cookies would be a big hit at those farmers markets. We do one right here on Long Island at NYU Langone, Long Island campus in Mineola, and I think our medical staff would be go crazy for some of these amazing cookies.
Yes, exactly. But
Well-
I make other ones too, not just simply.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah, but
number
see,
one.
when we find a favorite, we're kind of loyal to that favorite flavor we
Yeah.
discovered. And
Yeah.
these amazing cookies with the crispy cinnamon and chocolate chip cookie is already a big hit and our favorite here.
Awesome.
But we're willing to try your others.
Yes, please do as my bigger status. Yes.
Yep.
But besides, I actually do have my own TV show on Peacock. That one it's called Born for Business. It's with
Oh,
4
terrific.
10 episodes.
10
Well, we can't.
reality-
Tell
yeah.
us what it's called again, Collette.
It's called Born for Business.
Terrific. And that's on Peacock?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
the 10 episodes, we'll have to go check that out.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a big bag of cookies to sit down and watch that tonight.
Good idea. But I actually do have a bacon sauce. So I actually do have a web series, 6 episodes of that show. That show is actually on YouTube. It's called Underestimate. And that one
And
is a
And it's on
really funny show.
YouTube now?
Yes. Yeah.
It's literally, it's like 10-minute shows and it's all Collette behind the scenes.
Yes,
It's
it is.
That's terrific.
And my
Well, we'll be
baby
sure to
shows
We'll be
too.
sure to watch that. Well,
Yes.
it's terrific to be here with a multimedia star,
Yep.
a baker par excellence, an entrepreneur, and what a great story you have, Collette. Rosemary, thank you for sharing it with us.
Yes.
Thank-
And I hope you don't get fired anytime soon, Rosemary, because I can see Colette's a tough taskmaster.
I get it from my mom, by the way.
Well, thank
But yeah, I have been, yeah, I've had 6
But-
times, but now I'm not. So
Thanks, Collette. Thanks,
Yes.
Rosemary. Thanks for sharing your
you.
story with us. More cookies for everyone.
yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Please.
Thanks,
Thank you.
More
folks.
cookies.
Bye.
Bye.
We put our heart into everything we do. We are farmers, bakers, florists, and makers who grow and create with a passion. 1-800-Flowers. Share with love.
Well, I hope you enjoyed what you heard, and I know I'll be sharing it forward. I hope you get to as well. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow me along on Twitter at Jim1800Flowers and on LinkedIn at Jim McCann. Hope to talk to you soon.